Clancy is our program manager and has done heroic levels of effort to really get this program underway. And she mans or womans the Aim High website and email. So she will be a point of contact along with Caitlin Leiden, who's another one of our team members. And then I also wanted to introduce Katie Haynes, who I see on video here, who was a critical part as a participant from the Moore Foundation or consulting for the Moore Foundation, along with Tommy Wang, who've made this entire Aim High program possible. Without their dedicated work and ongoing collaboration, this wouldn't be a reality. And so we're extremely grateful to them and look forward to a really exciting next several years. With that, let's go ahead to the next slide. My name is Vincent Liu. I am a pulmonary critical care physician. I'm a research scientist at the Kaiser Permanente Division of Research, and then I help to oversee the implementation of AI and real-time predictive models in our Northern California region here at Kaiser Permanente. Just as a way of introduction, with support from the Moore Foundation, we've initiated this program, the Augmented Intelligence in Medicine and Healthcare Initiative, Aim High, where we're really focused on this request for proposals. As you can see here, it's designed to provide 2 to 3 years of funding for a total of 3 to 5 proposals of prospective artificial intelligence or machine learning implementation effectiveness studies in U.S. health systems. For each of those 3 to 5 projects, the total budget will be up to $750,000 either in 2 years or potentially to be spread over 3 years. The more letters of intent that are very high quality that we receive, the more likely I think that we'll end up being able to fund up to 5 proposals. So for those of you on the call and those who are networked with other colleagues who would like to submit proposals, please go ahead and disseminate the information widely. It'll be contributing to finding the best proposals, in the field. The Division of Research, DOR, it will act as the coordinating center and oversee the work. We will be advised by a National Advisory Committee, whose members we can introduce or let you know who they are a little bit later. The key date from today is June 30th. So we are asking all interested research applicants to submit a 3-page letter of intent that will be due at the close of business day, Pacific time, June 30th, 2023. And so that's our initial screening, hopefully to elicit just a lot of ideas. Those will be reviewed, and drawn from that pool of proposals, we will select up to 12 applicants to be invited to submit a full 12-page application. And between the informing those teams to submit a full application and the actual due date, you can see there's a longer period of time because there'll be more time necessary to pull together that application that will ultimately be due October 13th at the 2023. Okay, let's go ahead to the next slide. So what is the rationale for this RFP? Again, in working with the team at the Moore Foundation, and all of you know that AI and ML in the past decade has exploded and never more important than today. We've seen rapid expansions in large-scale health data, computing platforms, innovative algorithms. The challenge is there is an evidence gap, because while we see an ever-growing number of research studies describing performance retrospectively or algorithms in silico, what we've not seen are evidence that they can be effectively deployed to improve patient outcomes, and that they can be used safely, effectively, efficiently, and sustainably. So we're really focused on this RFP, focusing on prospective implementation of AI and ML tools. not on the development of algorithms. We think that that's already underway in many, many research domains. What we want to be able to identify are the best practices and the strategies needed to do that in real world health systems. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. So our program objective for AIM High is to advance research methods, identify best practices for scalability, and build capacity for effectively implementing and rigorously evaluating the use of AI and ML algorithms for diagnostic decision making in real world settings. Please go ahead and mute yourself if you joined the call. Thank you. All right. So again, just some key dates. May 22nd is where we are today. June 30th is the close of letter of intent applications. We will then hold, for those invited to submit full applications, another information session, and then the close for the full proposal submission in October 13th, with the plan that the grantees, the award grantees, will be notified by mid-December, and that the projects will initiate in early 2024. If you have any questions, the website is there, and you can feel free to email us at aim-high@kp.org. Okay, so a little bit more detail about the 3-page letter of intent. There's some formatting guidelines which should be followed. It should be a PDF, 1-inch margin, single space, 11-point Arial or Calibri font. Narrative must be no more than 3 pages, and each application should include 1 letter of support from an executive sponsor confirming specific endorsement of the proposal, with the goal of timely implementation that would allow for the evaluation of this. And we say that because we know how critically important a prospective evaluation is, or how critically important sponsorship is to actually being able to deploy and evaluate AI and ML in prospective evaluation. And so that's something we're expecting with your letter of intent. Additional materials, NIH-style biosketches or CVs for the proposed investigators. And if the proposal involves multiple institutions, then a letter of support from each institution is required. Okay, let's go ahead. So just a high level on what we're looking for in the letters of intent. We are looking for you to impress us with the impact, significance, innovation, and feasibility of the proposal you conduct. So, I think that's the number one thing. We want to see how AI and ML can be evaluated prospectively and look for the best science in those domains. But key to that will be addressing some of the key aspects of the proposal. What is the clinical diagnostic use case? A description of the existing AI ML algorithm and its performance, the implementation and the evaluation design that's been proposed, and then the team and health system setting, which are collaborating in the proposal. I think we'll get to some more of the kind of specific questions which we've developed in each of these domains to help you understand kind of how we are framing the evaluation of the letters of intent. Let's go ahead to the next slide. One of the really important things is that there is a prioritization on achieving a balanced funding portfolio that reflects current real-world AI and ML capabilities across the US in diverse systems and settings. So if you are from a smaller healthcare system or organization, or one that has less experience in AI and ML, your 3-page letter of intent is strongly encouraged. And so I wouldn't see, the fact that you've not been through this process before, or that there are some gaps in some of the elements that we're going to be reviewing that should dissuade you from submitting an application. In discussions with our funders, the Moore Foundation, it's a priority for us not only to focus on, certain academic medical centers that have kind of a wealth of resources potentially in this area, to look to those systems and settings which are relatively under-resourced. You know, relationships that include pairing between academic medical centers and other community or rural or other types of health system settings would be encouraged by us, and we would love to see that type of work done together. We are focused on applications coming from healthcare systems or organizations based in the United States. And I don't think there's probably many KP folks on this call, but due to conflicts of interest, Kaiser Permanente institutions and investigators are not eligible to apply. Okay, let's keep going. The Moore Foundation has had a long and rich program funding diagnostic excellence. And so the focus of this RFP is on diagnostic decision making. As many of you know, it's been estimated that millions of Americans are subjected to medical errors each year, and that diagnostic error is identified as a major contributor. We all believe that AI and ML algorithms have uniquely powerful capabilities to enhance diagnostic excellence, including in many of the specific kind of points along the diagnostic journey. In addition, the Moore Foundation has focused on 3 domains: cancer, acute vascular events, and acute infection, which are subject to specific diagnostic challenges. So that is a priority area for the Moore Foundation, but I want to be clear that we will accept applications across any clinical domain, medical or healthcare. And while that's an area of focus for the Moore Foundation, again, we're looking for the most impactful, most significant, and innovative applications. And so you should not be discouraged from submitting your AI and ML proposal, even if it doesn't fall within cancer, vascular events, or infection. Okay, let's go ahead. We are very focused on rigorous evaluation designs, and because that's been one of the major evidence gaps. So again, because there's a lot of retrospective data suggesting that the performance of these algorithms is very strong, but a relative paucity of data that is really using rigorous approaches and robust evaluation design. So we would strongly favor proposals which have an element of randomization, and modern study design can include randomization at a number of different strata, from patient all the way up to medical centers or units. And so proposals will be viewed favorably that include randomization, either kind of the traditional patient level or extensions of those designs applied to health system evaluation, and I've listed some of them here. We will consider other designs that don't include randomization, based on kind of the standard in the field, the AI ML tool, and its clinical context. Recognizing that one of the challenges here and the debates in the field is about when do we need randomization and how can we feasibly randomize for some of these tools. I think we understand the challenges in that domain, but we encourage you to seek the most rigorous evaluation design that you can. And then, if you explain why you're unable to do that and begin walking yourself back towards a less rigorous design, that may sway the review panel. We will not be funding the ongoing or new development of an algorithm, except where used to verify performance and support evaluation in a new healthcare setting. Again, 2 years, even 3 years is not a long amount of time, and we do not want to focus on funding projects in which the acquisition of new data and then the validation of those data and looking at subgroup performance takes up, a half of the project period. That there are many other funding sources which are available to tackle those kinds of questions, and that will be viewed as not a priority for our RFP process. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, so we are grading. The rubric for grading is similar to what is in the NIH study section, in terms of there being 5 general buckets that we'll be scoring applications on: significance, innovation, investigators, approach, and environment. And what we've done is gone ahead and just put some general questions that we will be thinking over as we evaluate the proposals. So in terms of significance, how important is the clinical or diagnostic scenario for which the AI ML tool has been developed? If successful, what is the anticipated impact that the AI ML tool implementation will exert on meaningful patient outcomes? What are the generalizable contributions of the proposal's findings on enhancing the future use of AI ML tools? How well aligned is the proposal with key interest areas in diagnostic excellence? Again, this is the priority areas of the Moore Foundation: the vascular events, cancer, and infection. If successful, how will the AI ML tool be generalized and scaled to new settings? Okay, so that speaks to, if this proposal is successful, how important is it to the clinical domain, and what is its likely impact on improving patient outcomes? Let's go to the innovation criteria. So some questions here: how innovative is the AI ML algorithm or the implementation evaluation design? What other similar AI ML algorithms exist, and what is the advantage of the proposed tool compared with existing diagnostic workflows or other tools? What is the potential that the proposed AI ML tools integration and evaluation will shift current research or clinical paradigms by highlighting novel concepts, methods, or interventions? And what existing barriers, to the use of AI ML tools will the proposal address and overcome? So there's both the innovation with respect to the application of the AI ML algorithm, but also to the innovation with which the AI and ML algorithm and the evaluation will change the way we think about these tools. I want to be clear about bullet point number 2, that an application which talks only about an algorithm, devoid of any context, any existing other algorithms which may be developed that have been reported similarly, or other existing clinical workflows, will be seen as really not understanding the context of the field. So please don't, unless you have developed an algorithm in which nothing has ever been developed before and no questions have been asked in one diagnostic process, please make sure that you contextualize what is seen as the enhancement provided by this algorithm on top of existing workflows or tools. Okay, let's go ahead to the next criteria: approach. What are the existing AI ML tool performance metrics and key indicators? For example, have you already published the tool? What is its accuracy, calibration, etc., for the proposed algorithm? What is the anticipated or existing implementation process and key indicators? So for those of you in this field, you know that there's often stages that these tools go through: retrospective validation, prospective silent validation, workflow integration, user interface, etc. Please tell us about that. What evaluation has been completed or is planned with respect to fairness and bias of the tool in the originating data source, the algorithm, as well as the proposed clinical intervention? And you all know that there's a lot of scrutiny and interest around bias. So even if the evaluation hasn't been done, please describe for us the planned evaluation. What evaluation has been completed or is planned for clinician acceptance and intelligibility? How robust is the evaluation design, and will the design impact the rigor of the findings? This speaks to, if it's a pre-post, which would generally be seen as not competitive in this proposal process, how will that impact the rigor of the findings? There may be scenarios in which that is simply the only option, but I think that that generally we're going to be less enthusiastic about that. Do power calculations support the study feasibility? And is the proposal feasible within the allotted time frame and budget? Okay, let's go on to the final two categories here. So investigators, does the team demonstrate the track record and qualifications to successfully execute the proposal? What is the evidence that the proposed team has successfully collaborated? What is the current governance oversight structure for AI/ML implementation in the study setting? Does the team include adequate multidisciplinary representation in AI and ML, technical instantiation, operational clinical integration, health system evaluation, and regulatory risk bias consideration? And does the proposal's principal investigator or key team member have qualifications to lead one of the program's working groups? So just a couple points of detail here. We'll talk a little bit about the working group section, but our goal is to have each of the principal investigators from the proposal lead an ongoing working group through the duration of the AIM High program. And so we're looking for them to have qualifications in that domain. And then, again, I want to just be really clear here. Even if your health system is a little bit less mature on the implementation journey of tools like these, please submit a letter of intent, explain why there aren't gaps in the team. Not every system has all of the expertise needed in bullet point 4. We realize that, and we are going to consider that when we're building the portfolio of funded applications. Okay, let's go on to the final criteria, and that is the environment. How well does the proposal represent implementation evaluation across diverse U.S. health settings or systems, including non-academic, community-based, and/or rural healthcare settings? What are the strengths of the proposed health system environment or setting in which the research will be conducted? What is the existing evidence of clinician or executive sponsor support for the proposed research? What organizational resources will support implementation and evaluation outside of the RFP funding? What is the evidence that the health system is investing in partnerships and or opportunities for generalizability of algorithms or learnings beyond the initial setting? And does the environment demonstrate adequate experience to successfully deploy and evaluate the AI/ML algorithm within the study period? So, the perfect proposal would look like an AI/ML tool in a field where nothing has been developed, which could radically alter patient outcomes in a very impactful disease or condition, in which all of the validation work has already been done. The team is exceptionally strong, and they can execute patient level randomization over a very short period, really to key in on the benefits of that tool. I think there's actually going to be not many proposals that can meet all those criteria, and we very much understand that. And so, again, don't let that be a deterrent to submitting a well-formed and thoughtful proposal, because we, again, are seeking to achieve balance that's representative of the AI and ML implementation journey across many different U.S. healthcare settings today. Okay, let's keep moving. There's some additional detail about what things will be reviewed favorably, and I'll go through these. That metrics of model performance at clinically actionable thresholds and across relevant subgroups has already been established. There's evidence of technical, clinical, and organizational integration and endorsement, and that could be through things like peer review, silent prospective validation, clinical playbooks, and user materials, end user interfaces, or resources allocated by the organization outside of the RFP funding. We will view partnerships in diverse healthcare settings very favorably, especially if it occurs across two distinct settings during the same time period. We are looking for efforts for fostering diagnostic excellence in acute vascular events, cancer, and infectious disease, but we'll entertain proposals for clinical domains outside of that, and then health systems outside of academic medical centers or partnered with academic medical centers would be strongly encouraged to apply. Okay. Next slide. The letters of intent will be reviewed by research scientists, clinical or content experts, biostatisticians, data scientists at the KP Division of Research Coordinating Center. We will have some additional expert reviewers, and then the overall selection of the funding portfolio will be guided by the National Advisory Committee. And Heather, if we could just pop up the names of our current National Advisory Committee that might have fallen to the appendix. But currently, we have the following folks, and we are incredibly excited to bring this panel together. Dr. Derek Angus is at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, is also a senior editor with JAMA. Dr. David Bates from Boston, and with extensive history in the integration of information technology into clinical workflow. Dr. Alastair Denniston, who is working in the National Health System in UK to establish a similar and much larger funding portfolio for AI implementation. Dr. Marzieh Gassemi from MIT, who is an expert in computer science, AI, and bias. Dr. Maya Hightower, who's joining us from the University of Chicago, as well as the CEO of Equality AI, and it has a lot of expertise in thinking through real-world implementation of these tools. Dr. Beth McGlynn, who is from Kaiser Permanente and is an expert in quality of care and in healthcare delivery. And then Mr. Brendan O'Leary, who is an independent consultant, recently worked in the FDA on issues related to software as a medical device and AI and ML implementation. Okay, I think our final slide is really talking about domain working groups. So the goal is for each of the PIs to lead one of these proposed working groups, and we will be working on the structure of these. They will fall into 5 domains: AI, ML, data science core, technology enablement, operational integration, risk, regulatory and fairness, and health system evaluation design. And the goal for each of these is to, again, achieve kind of the build capacity, understand and share findings and feedback, as well as hopefully to produce impactful perspective pieces or white papers on the salient issues, both in the projects that are funded here, but also broader in the context of what's going on in the field, because these represent some of the key domains and barriers to successfully implementing AI and ML algorithms that impact patient outcomes. Okay, and our final slide, I think, is just our information, our email, and our website. And so you can feel free, this would be the location to submit your letter of intent, as well as to send questions along. So with that, I'm gonna stop presenting, and perhaps we should go through some of the chat questions.
I think there was only one question that was repeated twice, and I did get all the requests for the recording, so thank you for sending your emails. I'll send this out probably sometime today. But the question that came through is, can a healthcare organization partner with health tech company for the study?
Yes.
So that question came in twice. People can raise their hand or put a question in chat, or also send questions via email if we don't have any questions for the call.
I missed the first moment or two. What's the email address that we need to send for the recording?
Oh, you can just put it in the chat or just send it to aim-hi@kp.org. So it's on the screen, aimhi@kp.org.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure. Okay, we do have a raised hand. Gil?
Yes.
Is that your first or last name? Sure.
Yeah, Indy, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. You mentioned that Kaiser Permanente folks are not eligible to apply. The question is, if we are from outside KP, but are thinking of collaborating with a unit within KP for the implementation aspect of the proposal, is that allowed? I guess rephrasing it, any KP involvement as a subsidiary testing site, is that allowed or not?
So thanks for that question. I think any KP, part of KP as an institution or investigators in any substantial scientific portion of this proposal will be not available due to conflicts of interest. So again, because we only have a limited number of proposals that we're able to fund, and because we want to ensure that there's not even the appearance of conflicts of interest due to us, our organization acting as a coordinating center, we have decided that again, any part of KP or investigator acting in any substantial scientific portion of the grant will be not allowed due to conflicts of interest. So I'm not going to get into, I think, more detail than that, because I think is there there may be edge cases in which in which those guidelines have some discretion, but our goal is to not have either any real conflict or even the appearance of conflict that would suggest that we're favoring applications from KP.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the RFP support development and or refinement of the user interface that will be used to deliver the information from the underlying algorithm, or is the interface expected to be complete along with the AI ML algorithm?
I think this kind of work is often there's some gap with respect to a specific element of the full AI ML to clinical bedside care pipeline. So I don't think that, sorry, please mute yourself if you're on this call, unless you're asking the question. So I mean, I think that funding can be applied to specific elements of that pipeline, but the funding should be focused primarily on the evaluation of the algorithm in use and focused on patient outcomes. So if funding for user interface is a large portion of the requested budget for funding, I think that would be viewed as probably not achieving the goal of really focusing on looking at evaluation and impact on outcomes. Looks like there's a question in the chat. The presentation seemed very focused specifically on algorithms. What about proposals for the use of infrastructures for the AI augmented dissemination of clinical evidence? especially in real time. I'm not totally sure that I understand that use case. If it's for, I could imagine some different scenarios. But you know, I think the letter of intent is really intended to highlight significant, innovative, and impactful uses of AI and ML that improve diagnostic decision making. So, you know, I think innovative approaches, along with generating clinical evidence in real time, is how I'm reading this. I mean, I think we would entertain them. It's just I don't think there's enough clarity to definitively say.
There were two more questions in the chat. We are a non-academic health system primarily operating in rural areas and have extensive experience in ML, but little research experience or resourcing. Will there be opportunities to partner with external researchers to design evaluation studies and other relevant details?
I think that so there's two opportunities. One would be to seek out partners in the field that you have worked with before, or whose work you're familiar with. So I mean that can be done in the letter of intent stage. Our goal again is to evaluate all of these applications with an eye towards you know, kind of the ones that are fully fleshed out. If the letter of intent says we are eager to find a partner and to participate in this together, and if the proposal again is significant, innovative, and impactful, I think we can provide potentially a little bit of assistance there. But you know, I'm not sure. You know, I think we're going to have to see what the kind of full complement of proposals look like.
There was one question higher up. It says, do you expect the PI to send the letter of intent, or can it be I think it might be the partner with the letter of support from the PI. So who does the letter of support need to be coming from? I'm not sure.
I mean, I think we're open to you know, receiving, you know, a letter of support from key partner in you know, indicating that the proposal is feasible and that there's interest, and for the PI to describe the application in a health system.
Yeah, another question. You mentioned that the more foundation areas of focus include diagnostic errors, cancer, infectious disease, etc., but also entertain other areas. Can you comment on interest around child health use cases?
I think that those would certainly be within domain, you know, and I think we would love to be convinced by compelling and impactful letters of intent that describe, you know, the use case and, you know, what the impact of this tool would be for that area of health.
Similar to previous question, I note the heavy emphasis on diagnostics. What if we want to study the use of AI and improving clinical decision-making to improve outcome metrics?
Yeah, I think clinical decision-making is predicated on diagnostic excellence. So in my mind, those run together, and so I think would be of interest to this program.
Should we send as many letters of support as we can obtain, or should we only include a single letter of support?
We are not looking for a large number of letters of support. If there are multiple institutions, then there should be one letter of support from each institution. And Heather, I don't know that we, this is housekeeping. I'm not sure that we've dictated a number of biosketches that we would like to see, or a maximum.
We did not. I think it
Okay.
was for the PI and for at the letter of intent stage. I don't
Yeah,
think we
okay.
requested others.
Well, I think that's something, we're not going to be looking for 30 biosketches. We will update the website to clarify that. We're looking for just only key biosketches and a very select number of letters of support in the letter of intent stage. Okay, well, thank you for your time. We are extremely excited about this work, and we are enthusiastic about your proposal. And so, again, I think we're keeping things broad, and we want to be influenced and swayed by compelling use cases that will impact the field and teach us about how most effectively to deploy AI and ML tools for diagnostic decision making. So thanks for your time, and we will disseminate the deck and point you to the website for additional updates, although I think they will only be modest, and look forward to your letters of intent on June 30th. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.